In this video, I will demonstrate the arabesque from the 24 pieces in freestyle by the French Romantic composer Louis Vierne. We are dealing with a legato touch. We are dealing with over legato on the spectrum of the legato touch. We are dealing with romantic phrasing, specifically legato phrasing from one phrase to the next without break, but indicating the new phrase. And we are dealing with how you do that through the use of delaying the downbeat through an agogic without breaking the legato touch. So it's a question of note duration and delaying the downbeat. We are also going to talk a little bit about how to handle some of these big chords using substitutions and sharing between the hands and the pedal. So let us begin. I will now play the melody of the arabesque. So notice how my fingers are going slow into the key. My arm is guiding the direction of the musical line, but my fingers are essentially inactive. And like the avocado shape that I referred to in my document by Dr. Jeanette Fishel, chair of the organ department at Indiana University, I allow the hand and the forearm to guide me in correlation with the musical line. So putting the right hand and the left hand together, you will see how I will link the phrases, starting with measure 3 going into measure 4, but using the agogic on the downbeat just to delay the arrival without breaking the touch. Here I delay the not tempo. Again into measure 6, and here delay. And so on and so forth. As you see, the timing of my hand and the use of rotation before I start, and how fast the rotation moves concerning the avocado shape determines when I arrive to a particular note or point in the piece. There are ornamental figures that are in small notes, and we know from the performance practice of this time period with Vidor and Vierne that they come before the beat. Going on to the next section, I'm going to do a bit of sharing, and here we have a 16th note passage starting in measure 12 that begins on the downbeat, and so I want that to be clear. And so I'm going to be out of the key for that first beat, and then back into the long quarter notes, slow into the key. Here in the next section, we have a group of 4/16 notes on the downbeat, and I want that to be clear, so I'm going to be out of the key for that. And then that's followed by the long quarter notes that are going to be long into the key. And I'm sharing between hands so that I can get a good legato in my left hand. So I start, and I'm going to have an active downbeat. The rotation begins. Again, active downbeat. Another agagic here. And I continue to share between the hands. Again, you see how I'm using rubato to time the line and to give and take and to crescendo and decrescendo through my touch, as well as using the swell box here on the Goulding and Wood instrument. Here on the gamba stop played on the swell division, I begin again with an active downbeat, which is out of the key. And with the 16ths, I'm thinking of just sort of going. I'm ascending and following the line, and it will be perceived as legato, but because it's so quick, I don't need to be necessarily detached, but think just more of an active energy from the hand. And here I'm sharing between the hands, just to reiterate, so that I can get a smooth legato between the right hand and the left hand. In this next section, starting on measure 21, I'm sharing between the hands. We have triads, and at the top, we have thirds. So I'm using substitution and also sharing between the hands because we're on the same manual. Remembering that this piece was written for organ or harmonium. Harmonium would just be one manual, so you would have to share to get the legato. I'm also sometimes even using the pedal in order to achieve the legato line by taking off the pedal stops and coupling the swell to the pedal. Here I share. Now, the melody here is in my left hand, and so I'm a bit out of the key because I want that melody to pop out from the texture. Here at measure 22, we have a phrase elision. One phrase going into the next. If I didn't have any accentuation on any of the notes, it would be harder to hear the melody through the right hand accompaniment of the triad. Versus adding that extra sense of shape to the line in the left hand melody really helps for it to pop out in the texture. The next section is the return of the A starting in measure 28. Again, we have small notes that come before the beat, for instance, such as in measure 35. Tick, tock, tock, tick, tock, tock, tick. Tick. See, before the beat. And especially here at the end, starting in measure 39, again, I have this beautiful lyric line, but with larger leaps. So I'm going to be over legato as one key is released, the other key is depressed, slow into the key. Before the beat here, over legato. Before the beat. And I follow through the last note with my gesture and my release. To review, in the arabesque from the 24 pieces in freestyle by the French Romantic composer Louis Vierne, you are dealing with the legato touch, specifically over legato for the larger intervals. You are dealing with legato phrasing without breaking the legato, indicating the start of a new phrase through the use of the agogic by delaying the downbeat, taking time into the downbeat, and then a tempo and using rubato to make up for that time, robbing Peter to pay Paul, as musicians often say. You are also sharing between hands in order to achieve a smooth legato when you have triads and thirds, and also the pedal to help out in that sense. And paying attention to the small notes and the ornaments that come before the beat. I'm here in Sursa Hall at Ball State University on the Goulding and Wood instrument built in 2006. And this was a demonstration of the arabesque from the 24 pieces in freestyle by the French Romantic composer Louis Vierne.